I'm a 17-year-old virgin. Since I was 8 years old, busting nuts 5 times a day. But there was only one thing I cared about in my life: 600-pound deadlift. And I was told by every self-improvement YouTuber that if I could go 1 week doing semen retention, my hormones would change, I would start attracting these beautiful women naturally. I would build such confidence in my life that all these dreams and goals would become reality. But most importantly, I gained so much testosterone, I failed the 600-pound deadlift. And instead, what I got was when I walked into the gym that day, I looked at every buff bodybuilder chick there, the ones on steroids, and I was so sexually attracted to them because I had not touched my dick in 6 days. And when I went home that night, sad from failing the deadlift, I busted the fattest nut in my life. And I never tried semen retention again. Until 4 months ago, when I promised myself to not watch any porn, not have any sex, and not ejaculate for 111 days. Okay, now obviously, like, why the fuck would you do this? No man in his right mind is into self-improvement enough to stop himself from busting nuts. My girlfriend left on vacation. We did long distance for 4 months. Damien, that's not very Andrew Tate red pill fucking big dick of you. I love this chick, and genuinely I think the duty as a man is to make your woman feel loved every microsecond, no matter what argument, no matter if it's hard to compromise. This is possibly potentially your lifelong partner, wife, the mother of your children. You should make them feel like they deserve to be there, they're appreciated. And I think one of the most important ways to make them feel that is the fact that sexual discipline is the hardest thing for men to gain. When we're living in this 2023 modern society, when just the swipe of an unlock to a face scan and a couple buttons is gonna allow you to see an infinite amount of pornography website, to an infinite amount of pornography categories, to an infinite amount of pornography videos, and the fact that we were literally put on this earth to reproduce, of course sexual discipline is the hardest thing for a man to gain. So by training this, by gaining the strength in my life to be able to have strong sexual discipline, if I want the woman in my life to feel like she is safe, she is loved, but most importantly, she's with a man who is capable, who has discipline, well, I might as well go and do the thing that requires the most discipline. And also, it was just a challenge I've always wanted to do. As you guys know from all these other videos, I used to be the absolute biggest piece of shit. I like to think of myself as a reforming pussy. This self-improvement thing, all these YouTubers like to preach that they are the god and they don't have any room to change. But I want this channel, I want these videos for you guys to watch as we are on this journey together. I make new videos every single week because I learn new shit every single week. I embark on these challenges because it scares me, but there's this deep want inside me. Like, I know there's so much in you guys. If you're clicking on a fucking video like this, of course, not even inside you, but on the surface, you probably say it to some people. That's how passionate you are about this. You care about improving your life. And that's why I like to take on these absolute stupid challenges all the time that you guys see me do. And I wanted to make this specific video because recently I've been making lots of like how to quit porn videos and how to stop relapsing, even on the shorts. And it brings more people to this channel. They can see like this very raw, authentic, vulnerable side of me. And I think that can just help relate. So I like to see it as like it's a fucking business sales funnel. You come to the shorts, you see the how to quit porn, you see all that like high dopamine type of content, then you come here. Through that experience, I've genuinely received thousands of messages from men who sexual discipline, pornography, masturbation has ruined their life. It has brought them and myself some of the most pain we've ever felt. Self-hatred. So I wanted to make this video. Genuinely, for the past 111 days, 4 months, I've been planning on making this video because I want to show you guys that if this is your biggest struggle, if this is something that plagues you every day, that there is a way to get over it, and that's the shit that I want to show. And we'll get to that at the end of this video, but all I ask is, if you care about this topic, take a deep breath and pay as close attention as you can to this video. Get your full attention, put it full screen. Don't scroll down to the comment sections until the end, and let me share this with you. So like all of you guys, I was promised by every other self-improvement YouTuber these things when I started semen retention. And genuinely, I had to go back before recording this video and watch like semen retention, no fat benefit timeline videos, and this shit is fucking cancer. I was watching this and I felt retarded. I've compiled a list of all the shit that you are supposed to expect by the end of this. And through this story, I will tell you what happened and what didn't happen. So I was promised increased self-esteem. I was promised increased testosterone. Some have even said up to double the nanograms per deciliter that you have in your natural system after only 7 days. But the one that appealed to me the most was the promise that I would become more of a masculine man. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that my biggest insecurity, my biggest struggle as a person is with my masculinity. Since I was a young kid, I was raised where my father didn't have much time to teach me much about being a man, and I was also in a family dynamic where my mother was the head of everything. And now I'm so thankful and grateful for all that she's done, but I noticed the things that have hurt me the most, either through women, through discipline, have all been tied back down to not a lack of masculinity, but a lack of understanding of what masculinity means to me. And this has brought me some of the greatest achievements in my life. It has made me feel so insecure about not being a disciplined, hardworking person that I went out and made a 1 million subscriber YouTube channel. It has got me past my first $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, etc. dollars a month because I needed to make up for the lack of self-esteem that I had. It made me go out and chase lower value women for my whole life and spend so much of my time wasted talking to these lower value women because I didn't value myself very highly. It's also brought some of the biggest mistakes I've made in my life. It has brought a huge deal of ego where I do so many things without any balance in my life, trying to chase approval of my childhood self. I am trying to chase the approval of younger Damo that was scared, fat, terrified, that when the PE teacher at school told him that he was acting like a little girl, if that teacher was my father, he would have disowned me because I wasn't much of a man. I've noticed so much of my biggest problems in my life comes down to me looking, searching, begging for the approval of that little scared boy. So when I heard that semen retention was not only going to physically, but mentally turn me into more of a man, that's what made me want to do it. So day one, I dropped my girlfriend off at the airport, gave her a goodbye, and I went home. I felt absolutely fucking nothing. It felt like the average other day, and that was probably because it was just another day. It was just one day. But that brings me to step one, because I promised to give in all these videos some sort of actionable steps to take on to the rest of your life or whatever the topic we're talking about, because I think as a guy watching, like me, you probably love listening to this rule book, this map that you can use in life, and I want you to have these tools in your toolbox for the rest of your life that you can just pick at and be like, oh, I remember when Damien said that. Okay, I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna use that here and maybe it'll work. So step one, if you're trying to do semen retention, is tell people. I told some of my best friends, I told like basically my whole family, I told my audience online, and having so many people accountable for you not only reinforces your mind, because quitting addictions, overcoming things, all comes down to just placing a ton of blockers from you and the thing that might make you relapse. So this is one of the biggest blockers, having not only yourself reminded, but all these other people remind you, even if they don't actually say it, just knowing that they're there and they know of what you're trying to keep yourself from. That's one of the most important steps. So I would recommend telling one of the most trusted friends, trusted brothers in your life, family members, someone who genuinely cares about you. This is the type of person that loves you so much as a person, they would fucking cut off an arm for you. There's only a handful of people that I would do this for, but I know there's also a handful of people that would do this for me, and those are the people that you want to tell. Day 7. At this point, I genuinely couldn't think straight. I'd be doing my work, making these videos, fucking running around the house, trying to slap the boner away. I was manic. And every single night, I thought about relapsing. But I never really wanted to because I was still excited. This was a new thing to do. But I would be terrified at the thought that there was still over 10 times the amount of time to go. Which brings me to the next step that I wish I did at this time, which is filling my day with scheduled out purposeful work. And I was doing the same amount of work as I did before, which was great, mainly because a big change in my routine happened, and this is great advice for anybody who's going through a breakup. You want to fill time and replace time that you used to spend doing something else, whether that's the 30 seconds you would be doing busting nuts, or if you just went through a breakup and you want to practice semen retention, so you're not just busting nuts and probably can never go talk to a girl again. Whatever that time frame is, replace that with some purposeful work. This is gonna keep your mind on something that you actually care about, something that's beneficial toward you, to the fucking society. And the more actionable autistic step to this is writing it down in a calendar, writing it down on a piece of paper in your journal about what this work should be and what it should fill the time with. Another step to compound on top of this is schedule a time to meditate. I talk about meditation in every one of these fucking videos, but it's genuinely one of the best skills. The benefits are infinite, and the benefit that it translates the most to semen retention is if you've been busting nuts as long as me, you'll probably get into these manic states. It's something that you're so used to, like something integral. It's like brushing your teeth. Like imagine if you stopped brushing your teeth right now and you just smelled how fucking bad your mouth breathing breath smells every single day. It's gonna drive you insane. So by learning to meditate, we have so many other videos on this, all these different methods of meditation. Meditation is basically training your presence in the moment. So when you're having all these negative thoughts about, oh, I need to go bust nuts, man. Oh my God, my dick's so hard, I need to bust nuts. After days, months, years of practice and meditation, you will subconsciously be able to revert your mind away from those thoughts back to just whatever you're doing in that present moment, back to that purposeful work. Boom, I combined it. That's how you make a fucking video. Next one, day 30. This was the worst pain. Both literally, my balls actually hurt a bit. I didn't think that would ever be true. I was promised it would be easy by now. I was promised by all these fucking no-fap timeline benefits bullshit YouTubers that by day 30, I would have built this new habit. I've been busting nuts since I was 8, bro. It got to a point where I was genuinely ashamed of myself. I was ashamed that I still thought about masturbation, I thought about ejaculation, I thought about sex so much in the day. These thoughts would consume my mind. I was ashamed that all the self-improvement knowledge and work I learned, I wasn't applying extra of it. I wasn't applying as much as I normally would, and it didn't fix what I was going through. And that's when I learned, because it doesn't matter all this self-improvement stuff that you do to fix a problem. Whether you went through a terrible breakup, you were depressed, you watch one of these other videos and you learn how to get over something, the next thing will come. And all these self-improvements you learned, things you learned were to fix these past things, and they worked and they were great. But a new challenge will always come and you're gonna have to find a new way to deal with it. And self-improvement is a life-lasting practice. It genuinely is the marathon, not a sprint mentality. You learn how to get a little bit better that you can face these problems. And the problem gets a little bit tougher, and you challenge yourself, and then you get a little bit stronger, and then a little bit stronger, and then one day you go, oh, you know, I can take on a harder challenge, and oh, that challenge was just a little too much. But then you learn more and you get stronger, and it's just this everlasting battle, and you just have to own that. And on this day, what I had to own was I almost relapsed. Around the 30-day mark, I genuinely almost relapsed. I remember it being nighttime and I fucking grabbed my dick, bro, and I'm gonna be 100% honest, I fucking like edged myself for a night. And I'm so glad I didn't bust a nut, or I genuinely would have hated myself. But that was one of the most shames I felt. And a step I would say on that is, this is something that I usually don't preach because I like to bring like a very balanced thought to self-improvement. But I'm gonna say something that's a little bit more harsh, and that's treat this as like a do or die situation. If you set out the time and the date, because let's be honest, if you take yourself out of this moment and look at it from an outside perspective, all you're doing is really, you're just not touching your dick. One of the best ways to get over problems is taking yourself outside of it. That's where the meditation comes from, and genuinely just laughing at the situation. And just laughing at the fact that I'm going through so much hell trying to touch my dick is pretty hilarious. And it's not that big of a deal. So treat it like that, but also treat it very seriously in terms of you have to get through this because you promise yourself. Not that hard. You can do it, and you will do it, because it's so much harder to quit and have to feel the days, the months, the potential for some people years of you being a 38-year-old at your 20-year high school anniversary, and then like you're giving a great speech about how you're the CEO of this company, and then boom, the stock comes in your head of, oh, 21 and I tried to stop busting nuts for 100 days and I blew a fat load on the kid. That's obviously an exaggeration, but lots of these things, if you had a past where shit like this hurt you a lot, you have to treat this like it's a do or die. Day 50. Around this time, things got even worse for me. This was the closest I came to relapsing. I genuinely got to a point where I woke up one morning, I couldn't even control myself, and my instinct was grabbing my phone, unplugging that charger, turning off my alarm, swiping, incognito mode, something I haven't done in months. So not only relapsing on busting a nut, but almost relapsing on porn, typing in PORNHU, and then stopping myself. Not only that, but I noticed my social media feed, my Instagram feed, instead of it being like 100% bodybuilding dudes, it was like 75% half naked women. And it wasn't even that I was searching for it. It was the fact that subconsciously scrolling through social media, I felt so sexually deprived that I would stop for longer on the thoughts, and the algorithm would pick that up and be like, oh, you know, like this guy's an absolute shitbag. Let's give him some more hoes. Oh, more hoes as well. And it just became a vicious cycle. I was so ashamed during this time, and I told nobody. And the worst part was, I noticed none of the no-fap fucking timeline benefit. I didn't feel an increase in testosterone. I didn't feel more masculine in my work and more focused. Like, this was around day 50. It was supposed to be day fucking 10 that I was supposed to feel more focused. If anything, I felt less focused. I felt less strong. I felt less of a man. And at this point, it wasn't about my duty to my girlfriend anymore. It wasn't about my insecurity with my discipline anymore. It became about how bad my porn addiction was. This porn addiction that I had since I was 8 years old to 20 years old, and that I just got over for almost a whole year, and it just came back in a form that I didn't think it could. That this felt like, to me, the final thing I had to do to prove to myself that I could get over this porn addiction once and for all. Around day 75, I quit nicotine cold turkey. My biggest addiction. Worse than porn, worse than any other drug, worse than being lazy my whole life. Nicotine was a drug that I did every single day from 14 years old to 21 years old, from 7 in the morning to 11 at night, every 15 to 30 minutes. We have a whole other video on this, but what I learned about addictions, everybody has that one addiction that is the worst. It either depends through your DNA epigenetic line or what you encountered as a child, your childhood, deepest, oldest childhood traumas and experiences, that whatever the addiction is, whether it's porn for you or nicotine for me, when you get rid of it cold turkey, it's pretty interesting that your brain will look for other ways to cope on the thing that you were coping with. And for me, that was sexual release. And suddenly, at a time where I felt like everything was slowly getting better and I was forgetting about the fact that I wasn't busting nuts after doing it for so many years, that's all I wanted to do. From the moment I woke up to the moment I slept, I wanted to relapse. I wanted to watch porn. I wanted to just masturbate. It's like mind-muscle connection in the gym. It is in the DNA for my arm to bust a nut. So it took so much willpower, so much strength to not do that for the month or two that it took to get over nicotine. An actionable step that I would attach to this: if you have an addiction, the hardest thing to do will be not replacing that bad addiction with a second addiction. Every human brain fucking loves addictions. If you look at anybody, from the homeless guy on the street to the guy on the internet that you have the most respect for, has some sort of addiction to something. That's how the brain works. The brain works off these patterns. It likes to have these things that are repetitive in our life every single day. However, what we always forget is that sometimes, for some people, these addictions are healthy. Whether it's the addiction to meditating in the morning or the addiction to working out every day, whatever it is. Something I had to realize was, if we're gonna get addicted to things anyways, we might as well get addicted to the things that we can be proud of. Yes, they might be tougher, and it's harder to get that same amount of dopamine hit you get from busting one nut or taking one hit of nicotine. It might take you a mile run, an hour workout, but those are the things that are gonna make us so much better in the long run. Those are things that are gonna save years on our life. So replace a bad addiction with a good one. And on the 90-day mark, this took so much longer than all these fucking no-fap YouTubers promised, but I finally started to forget that I was even doing this. And it just became a daily habit in my life to wake up, not reach for my phone, and not bust a nut. So before I give you the final summary, the day 111 of semen retention, should you watching right now do semen retention? I'm gonna give you an answer that you don't fucking want to hear. Something that no other self-improvement YouTube video is gonna give you, because everybody else wants to give you this exact tip or trick, because us men, we like to listen to these extreme worldviews, these extreme paths. It's up to you. Because I believe it's only worth it if, one, you need to have a strong reason why. Now, you need to have a strong reason why to do any tough thing in life. If you want to change anything drastically, whether it's for good or for bad in your life, you need a strong reason why. I always preach this, but the best way to find your reason is the same way that you find your purpose. That's either through life experience, or if you need this shit now, lock your ass in a room, open up your journal, and just write. You could write at the top, why do I want to do semen retention? And eventually, the more you write, the brain is like a supercomputer. It will get deeper and deeper into these subconscious thoughts. First, you're gonna write some absolutely stupid shit. And then at the end, you're gonna get to these more realistic, profound thoughts. And maybe it's stuff that's linked back to your deepest childhood. And sometimes the most important reason is that you wanna fight against what could be the biggest problem in your life. For a lot of us men, sometimes it hurts to say out loud or to admit, feels shameful, but sexual discipline is something that we don't have. And I'm here to tell you that that's okay. That these companies that produce porn videos, these people doing OnlyFans, they don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about your mental health. All they care about is your time, your attention, and your money. They could care less if you end up dead on the street because you hate yourself so much, that you end up divorced because you never learn how to treat a woman properly because all you can think of is women in pornos. They don't give a fuck. So if this is something that truly has hurt you in your life and you genuinely want to do to prove it to yourself, you fucking should. Another reason is you want women. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that by day 7, you're gonna get these fucking invisible angel wings and your pheromones are gonna smell. Like, shut the fuck up. Come on. That's so stupid. So if you're currently in a relationship right now, if you want your girl to feel more sexually attracted to you and you're not practicing some sort of sexual discipline, sexual restraint, and I'm not saying from her, I'm saying if you're watching porn and you have a girlfriend, or you're masturbating and you have a girlfriend, cut that shit out. The scientific reason is, one, if you stop busting nuts, you're not gonna get fucking angel wings, you're not gonna levitate, but you will have a way stronger sexual urge, and that stronger urge, primarily as animals, not only women, but just the person that you're with will be able to feel that. They will be able to feel that because you'll probably be making so many more advances, so many more moves, and if this is a partner that is great for you, this is a huge compliment to them. As much as it's nice for us guys to feel desired by our women, it's nice for them too to feel desired by us. And we can never give them the full desire of our brain if we're spreading our soul to things like OnlyFans and porn, or even to just busting nuts by yourself in your room. So if you don't have a partner and you want one, I tell you, after listening to this story, how fucking manic I've gone from not busting nuts. This is what you are like in a natural state. And like hundreds of thousands of years ago, even take it 50 years ago, to your ancestors, the ones that don't have this like dopamine porn-filled world, those guys, those men were getting so many more girls. Now all the self-improvement YouTubers, we talk about how we're an epidemic of lonely men, and I fully believe that. This generation has the highest rate of suicide in men. This generation has the highest rate of loneliness in men and unfulfillment, and that's because all these modern addictions, they pull away our dopamine, they pull away our natural sexual presence, our natural life energy to artificial intelligence, artificial sources, artificial dopamine. That when we can retain that, when we can practice retaining that, imagine all that energy you have, you'll be able to walk into the gym with this sexual energy. Genuinely, you'll miss busting nuts so much that your brain will just naturally go, I have to fucking talk to some girl. I have to talk to a girl. And if it takes that to get you to talk to a girl, then that's fine, man. If anything, that's better. By restricting yourself and not letting yourself bust nuts by yourself, like you literally tell yourself like, oh, I'm not allowed to jerk off. I'm not allowed to watch porn. I don't do that. I don't bust nuts. Your brain's gonna be, how the fuck do I release this? I need to get an actual woman. And slowly but surely, for some it might be faster, for others it might be slower, you'll naturally go toward more of the route subconsciously to get women. Whether that's going to areas with more women, going to more social gatherings, leaving the house more, approaching more women, just because it will feel like a natural need, not even just a primal instinct, but a primal need. If I was single all over again and I just needed to get women, this would be the first thing I would do. So finally, day 111, the day that I've been waiting for so long. And of course, as a guy, I fantasized about it so many times in my mind, like how is it gonna happen? How good is it gonna feel? It was great. Was it worth all that pain and struggle? Probably not. Would I do it over again for a woman that I see as a potential lifelong partner, if they are worth it? Yeah, not touching my dick is worth preserving a family in the future, for sure. Would I do it for the wrong person? Fuck no. But it taught me so many lessons. And the best thing I walked away from the experience was everlasting self-pride. All these things that we do in life that have brought us the most fulfillment, the most happiness. If you're an OG fan and you know me from the other places, I always say the back in my day feeling. To be able to one day say to your kids, back in my day, your dad practiced semen retention for 111 days. That shit brings a lot of pride. That's why I always practice to always chase these big, hard challenges in your life. The things that you subconsciously want to do but scare you. The ones that might take a month, 2 months, 111 days, these big challenges in our life, whether it's fitness challenge, benching 4 plates, or quitting a 12-year-old long porn addiction. Whatever that tough challenge is for you, that's the one that you should go chase, because you're gonna get that back in my day moment where you can say you were proud of yourself for something that you did to better your life. So sometimes when the brain tells you to do something good for you, even if it comes from ego, from pride, this is the sense of your current purpose. Your subconscious puts these challenges in front of you in life because deep down, you know that these are some of the biggest problems in your life. And you know you need to prove it to yourself. Whether it's quitting drugs, being lazy, porn, that you can change whatever habit that you're ashamed of and become better. So stop touching your dick, man. God damn.